Hi, thanks for joining me today on this talk about self-compassion. The content of this talk is based on the work of researchers Krista Neff and Shauna Shapiro, and additionally Pima Shodran. So thanks for joining me. Consider for a moment if you can sleep soundly before a long day of Zoom meetings, if you can remain calm and peaceful in rush hour traffic, if you can love everyone around you all of the time, unconditionally, then you're probably a dog. We tend to be pretty hard on ourselves. We criticize ourselves when we miss the mark, don't perform the way we'd like to, or feel worry and self-doubt that kind of accumulates like dust on our bodies and minds throughout the day. We strive for perfection, but perfection is not real. And in fact, a 2019 study tells us that the more we strive for perfection in ourselves and others, the more struggle we'll have in all areas of our lives, with negative impacts on health over the lifespan. Let's be clear, there is excellence, and it's fantastic to aspire to meet your goals. But we need to believe that every day doesn't have to be highly productive. We don't always need to feel highly connected, and we don't always really need to feel extremely influential and worthy. All of this can be pretty unsustainable, and I often tell my students, have an ordinary day. They look at me rather strangely, and I explain, it's not always going to be a great day. Accept that. Allow space for those days. If it's not a great day, are you a failure? Of course not. So make ordinary the new extraordinary. When we feel this pressure to make every day so amazing, it can be helpful to bring some kindness, gentleness, and self-compassion to yourself. In fact, research from 2019 tells us that self-compassion is directly linked to the sympathetic nervous system response, that fight, flight, fear, freeze center of the brain. And it dampens the emotional flooding that occurs when cortisol gets dumped into every cell of our bodies. A regular dose of self-compassion regulates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis by reminding us that we are all a part of a very similar human experience, with ups and downs, highs and lows. Our life can feel steadier when we make space to feel all of it, rather than wanting things to be different. Allostasis is a concept of neuroplasticity, and essentially it is the accumulation of stress over the lifespan. And over time, with chronic stress, we have a new altered set point that is highly vigilant and always looking and scanning for threat. The key point to the most recent research on self-compassion is to just simply notice self-criticism, striving, self-doubt, fear. And to do this, we have to learn to be still for a few moments each day so that that cloud can be noticed and let go, or simply accepted for what it is given the day. That's the concept called allostatic lift. It's like a bicep curl for the brain, training a new neural circuit to form and with repeated practice to strengthen. So let's practice that right now. Close your eyes, wiggle your toes, feel the four corners of your feet. Allow your legs to get heavy. Notice your sit bones. Allow your belly to be soft. Drop your shoulders. Soften your jaw. And notice the breath coming in and out of your body, just as it is. Perhaps you sense it at the nose, the coolness of the air coming in. Perhaps you feel your chest expand. Some people like to put their hand right on their stomach so that they can feel that diaphragm moving. The breath is an anchor to this moment right here. There's no problem to solve and nothing to fix in this moment. As the mind wanders off, gently bring it back. Kindly bring it back to this inhale and this exhale. Like a squirrely puppy, the mind wants to play, wants to be naughty, wants to run around. We ask it to sit and stay. The research tells us it's often helpful to label things that come up in our mind, thinking, just label it, planning mind, and return always to the feeling of your lungs filling up and emptying. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. And as we take a few more breaths together, before you open your eyes, consider a word of self-compassion. Maybe something a loved one has said to you at some time. I am love, I am whole, I am worthy, it's okay, let be. And just savor this moment. Marinate in this feeling. Allow yourself to be fully nurtured. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe roll your shoulders and your neck. And know that what you just did caused new neural connections to strengthen. You can literally sculpt your mind by practicing this each and every day. It's called cortical thickening, and it's literally the growth of new neurons in response to repeated practice. What we practice grows stronger. One of my favorite teachers says, "You are the sky. Everything else, it's just the weather." So if we see sun, rain, clouds, some days wind, hail, you name it, as everyday human experiences, we don't attach to wanting it to be different. We can hold it all, even the messy stuff, even the hard stuff, with gentleness and love. This is not a practice of apathy. Self-compassion is not a cop-out. We still need to do the work. But when we begin with kind attention, we bathe our brain in dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter that activates the learning centers of the brain so that we continue to show up with wisdom, patience, and humility. And I mean show up for ourselves, so then you can show up for others. So recall your self-compassion word or phrase. Practice speaking it every day as if your life depended on it, which it does. It's going to feel weird at first, but what you practice grows stronger and extends to every other area of your life. Thanks for joining me.